the myth, the legend, Joe Grow Williamson.
I
Joe.
appreciate it, Zeb. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, somebody said the other day I was Ferd and I are on the river, Ferd, Tom and I, and Ferd uses the tree roots to get over the 6 inches of water and like hug the bank of the river, and then I saw somebody tweet out, everybody needs a hype man like Zeb, right? Everybody needs someone to pump me up, and yeah, so you got me pumped up. But how's everything going, man? How's everything going in Kansas City?
Dude, it's good. Time it's a little weird right now. I miss going to the office, but silver lining. I spent a lot of time with my son right now.
Dude,
and,
the ultimate silver lining of all this, right? Right?
What's that?
The ultimate silver lining of all this.
It really is. I haven't spent this much time with him since he was born. And now, he's going to have a little sister on the way. So we're talking to him about that a whole lot. But yeah, I miss Blue Chip. I miss the office. We 3 events that I had to cancel, which were all really important to me because it's more reps for me to get better at running tournaments. And I think it's important for Kansas City. But, it is what it is. So it's what it is. We'll be back hopefully for our Super 32 early entry and Fall Brawl and Stampede and all that stuff coming up. And we just are putting on the books for next year, first camps. Going to do some camps next year in 2021.
What camps are you going to do? Where are you going to do those at?
To be determined. I think we're going to do one team camp and then one technique camp. But that's all new stuff for me. So, I'm going to have to be talking to the Papalizios of the world and figuring out, what's important to do that stuff. But anyways, yeah, I'm just getting through this time right now. And gosh, I just miss some wrestling. I miss wrestling.
Yeah, and it was crazy because you and I were we were going to try and bring you in for Ohio State tournament, and the logistics were just awful to it. As far as flying you either to Cleveland or Columbus, it was just awful. You were going to...
Man, that was such a bum deal for me because I truly believe you're the very best at wrestling coverage. And so I just was really looking forward to picking your brain. Obviously, seeing some Ohio State tournament, arguably the best in the country, but also just getting to spend a weekend with you and learning how to do it right.
The crazy thing about it is, you were really set up to do all the heavy lifting because I had a nephew qualify this year. And
Joe, I'm going to be in the stands or whatever.
Yeah, I was my thing is I was really pumped to have you there because it takes so much pressure off me, man. And we got Mark Neiman and Rob Gore and a bunch of other guys, the Atkinson brothers and Les and all. They help.
Now. It's you needed a red shirt. You just how long's it been since you just went to a wrestling tournament and watched? You haven't for years and years.
The district tournament the week before, my nephew won the district, Wyatt Miller, and I was really excited for him, man. That was the saddest thing about all of it. I love my nephew Wyatt so much, and he had a horrible accident. He blew his hand off in an accident. He blew his left hand. He degloved his hand. He's missing this finger, his pointer finger. They had to reconstruct his thumb from his hip bone, and he's had a lot of trauma in his life. And he's just a really great kid. And it's just you can't be pulling for someone any more than Wyatt Miller. And that was I was just so excited because I was man, this is really going to take the pressure off me because Joe's going to be here. And then...
I wish I could help.
Yeah, no, that's the crazy thing is it didn't even happen. And then, dude, it would have been horrible. I'd have been out, just travel for you, I'd have been out probably $1,500.
No, thank God we didn't buy that ticket.
I know, because remember, I was and then you were and then you found out you found out about this little girl on the way. It actually was what actually was the catalyst for it not happening. So really, probably like a super duper blessing for you and a super duper duper blessing for me, and and us not having to put you in such an awful position. And that's literally when all the sketchy travel stuff started to happen. But yeah, man, I was super pumped because
I remember calling you and I was like really stressing about it. I was really worried. It was like, man, I'm letting Zeb down. I just don't really think it's the right thing to come, and you made me feel really good about it. So I appreciate that.
Dude, but you bailed me out of the grease.
Here's what I did do yesterday. I watched Nathan Tomasello versus Zeke Moisey at the Ironman with my son, just to show him what some true heart is all about. You remember that match?
I think I remember it. Dude, we were calling it together, so it's crazy. It was a semifinal at the Ironman.
Yeah, one of the best calls of all time by Zeb Miller.
Yeah, but you're there. You know what's awesome about that? I was watching it. There was a David Taylor interview that and neither one of us works with Flow Wrestling anymore, and which makes me sad because you and I were such a big part of building it and building a brand. And I mean, it's not even the same thing anymore. It's like it's a DoorDash brand now, right? It's not even like literally the brand's not even the same. You know what I mean? Like used to be the old school Green Wave, and now it's like some DoorDash looking thing, right? And that's what's crazy about it. And Martin's obviously gone, and he's got Rockfin, and you've moved on to Grow Wrestling, and you guys helped me start GoHioCast when we did that EWL deal. I don't know if you remember that.
I sure do.
Yeah, and and it's like looking back on it, I wouldn't change a thing about how whatever I did with Flow Wrestling. And the biggest thing is like I remember when you came on and you and Martin were doing those corny videos in that old the green hippie house.
Yeah.
And I remember when he brought you on, I remember he sent you to Russia with a bag full of shoes.
Hey, Seven, you were there with me.
Hey,
2 years later.
Come here.
Kazan.
Yeah, Kazan. We were there the next year together. We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Zeb, we interviewed Kadukov and Mamiashvili together.
Yes.
Remember, and that was when that phrase, in Russia, there's rules, and there's rules you got to follow.
Yes.
We were at McDonald's, and that one dude said,
Paul!
"What the heck are you guys?"
Paul!
I'm from Minnesota.
No, Paul's from freaking Sylvania, Ohio.
No, he's from Minnesota.
No, he went to Sylvania, like Southview, whatever he went to his school near Oak Harbor. He knew Oak Harbor where I was from.
Yeah. That's
Listen.
And I told you, like,
he approached us.
I was on another plane with the same guy.
I literally just watched you guys interview him. I've watched that recently. I love it. Paul.
Me and you at the end of this trip will be fat alcoholics.
Oh my God.
That's super inside, everybody watching. That's super inside.
I'll post the video.
That's some Tigran.
Tigran, dude. That trip was wild. Here's the next thing about that. We were in harm's way. I don't know if you know. Like, they don't love us.
Bacterial infections.
I mean, we were in harm's way in so many ways, shapes, and form. Like, if I want you to think about this, Joe. We didn't have credentials.
No, credentials weren't a thing in Russia back then.
We rolled up. You and I filmed 305 matches. You did 2 cameras.
Every single match.
And then I did 1. And we only called, I think, like the finals. Hey, those finals we called, a lot of those guys are huge stars now. I remember this young kid was putting it on Kadukov. Do you remember who the young kid was? You probably don't remember this. Like, I was watching, it was an early round match, it was a second round match, and he was like taking him off and staving him down, like taking Kudakov down and then staved him off, and then Kudakov just like rolled him in the last period and a half. Because remember, it used to be, I think he won a period from Kudakov. Do you know who it was? He was like 16. Yeah, don't worry, you don't know who it is. I'm going to tell you. It was Ahmed Chikayev. Chikayev is like a multiple-time world medalist for Russia. But it was when he was like 16 years old, he's like, young, whatever. he said whatever he was, Osseetian, I forget what Chekayev was. He told us what he was, and he was like, oh, yeah, he's a young, whatever club he was from, and he was like, he's 16, he's really good, and yeah, he's really good. He's still really good. But,
You know what's really good is those go-karts we rode.
Go-karts we rode. Hold on. A bar connected to a go-kart thing.
Seb, I remember being so scared on that, and the first turn, you were up on 2 wheels. I'm like, screw this. I'm not going to go for the win. I'm just going to go for not breaking my neck.
And to which I ended up putting you in the Russian gals to shame. Hey, do you remember they dropped us off? Remember we did the 2-finger thing? That was hitchhiking. You would stand on the curb. The curbs were huge too, I remember. You do this, and they would come up, and Tigran and whoever the driver was, yeah. Tigran and the driver would scream at each other and like sound like they were arguing. They were actually just haggling.
It was all pleasantries, Zeb. We were like, "What, are you trying to fight him?" He's like, "No, he's just asking where we wanted to go."
Hey, we thought you were challenging him to a Mad Max Thunderdome match. I mean, yeah.
You know what I also remember? I wanted some borscht that whole trip. Never happened. I mean,
we got borscht at the end. We got
some an old Arbat.
Old Arbat. And then I remember we had some borscht. I have a video of you eating borscht with smetana. With some smetana, by the way, which is sour cream.
Yeah, sour cream, obviously.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, smetana, sour cream, and everything. And then, do you remember the last night we were there? And that was the night I tried to stuff the down.
How could I forget?
The down comforter down the
best night of my life.
The garbage chute, and then it was we were hanging out with Jamsul and Maxime Milanov. I think Maxime might be the head women's coach now, right? Or he was
the women's coach in the United States. But if you remember, his wife, he had a baby.
He had his 5th baby. He had his 3 bottles of Baikal vodka.
Baikal, yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you remember he was like Eddie Haskell? His sisters were there, and his daughter. His daughter was at school, and what's crazy is it was his sister, but his daughter was there, and his daughter was his oldest child. She was 19, and that day he had another son. He's like, I have my 5th son today. Let's drink all this vodka. And we were like, oh, okay, man. Do you remember?
John was so pumped about it.
It was so pumped, and they kept. Oh, dude, vodka is disgusting. I hate vodka, but we drank 3 bottles of it, and then they went back to the flat.
Across the world the next day, and you were an absolute mess.
Oh, dude, I was hurting for certain. We flew back with all those Mormons. You remember that? We flew back with a bunch of Mormons.
Yeah.
We did.
That was the best Flow Nationals coverage to date. It was the first time we ever got every single match.
Russian Nationals. I have all of them still.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Good clean.
It's so crazy. But other stuff that was just like crazy was like when we showed up and how they just like little things, it's the little things. I just watched the toilet video with my kids. Remember the toilet has like a platform, a porcelain platform?
What did you say?
I said, it's the little things, like Pulp Fiction. I'm like, this isn't a little thing, dude. And then you're like, well, there's a brush. And I'm like, well, what do you do with the brush? And you're like, well, you can kind of help it into that other hole. And then you're like, it's the opposite of ergonomic.
That's it. The ergonomic was the word I was looking
for. You said let's just say this is the opposite of ergonomic. Dude, such a crazy trip. And it was like that.
I learned more on those trips than I did in college.
It's so sink or swim. It's just so sink or swim.
World and all that.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
So much figure it out.
We got to Kazan. We didn't even know we were staying.
No, Tigran and some guy who looked about 75 years old had an argument. and the guy was like smoking cigarettes, and he took us in his like geo tracker, and then like he went upstairs, he yelled at his mom, and then they handed Tigran those like skeleton keys. Dude, they're still.
I swear I broke my foot in that bus.
The bus door, yeah, because we had to take the bus to the. And then okay, so then do you remember Tigran and the guy arguing? He went upstairs. The lady was chopping carrots. He screamed at her. She grabbed a bag, like literally the bag was like open. She like grabbed the two handles of it like this, and they walked out and drove away. You remember how on edge we were for about 2 or 3 hours? Like they're gonna come back and steal our stuff.
We were like, dude, we got all these cameras, we got all these computers. We were certain we're just gonna get robbed. We're sure we get. And Tigran had he wasn't worried about Jack. Jack's running around by himself outside. We were just certain we were gonna get robbed. Jack.
Well, yeah, that was like totally the thought. We're like, dude, they're gonna totally rob us. They're gonna come back. We're gonna leave. They're gonna come back. We're gonna come back, and our stuff's gonna be gone. And the cops are gonna be like, hey, what are you doing breaking into these good Kazanians, these good Tartars, these people from Tartarstan's home.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. One of the best experiences of my life. Even though I was on edge the whole time. Unbelievable.
How about I would get like completely and utterly ripped up and then sleep it off, and you'd be like up grinding, and you're like, dude.
It was when we were there. We had got back to Moscow, like a 24-hour train ride, and time to start translating the what do you call it?
Matches. The matches. You had to write the matches. Yeah, they were in Cyrillic on the board. You would point up at the bout board, and then we would point down to the.
You go, Joe. I hope you got this. I'm just gonna go in here and lick my wounds. I was like, Zab, you son of a bitch. But you didn't have to do it. Like,
it was awesome. So the other thing is, with that whole thing was Tigran Oganessian, right? Wasn't that it?
Yep.
Tigran, he was Armenian, the super fan from.
Next year, the next year, the World Championships were in Moscow. And I remember my favorite wrestling shirt was this 1989 Plattsburgh Invitational. It's a small town here in Missouri, and I left the shirt there. I'm sitting there in press row, and I just hear somebody yelling my name, Joe. Like, what? I look up there, and he's holding my shirt up.
Stop it.
I think I hung it outside the window because it was disgusting, and I left it there. He brought me that shirt back, and a year later, at the World Championships, got my shirt back.
That was the year of the Kudakov leg grab, the ball grab. Yes. That was, and you made the call. One of the best calls ever.
Yeah, probably the best call ever.
Yeah, I would say that. It was my favorite call ever. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie.
Second best to the match we brought up earlier, the Tomasello versus Moisey. Granted, that was just an Iron Man.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Probably a better call than the Caduceus Federation World Final in the clinch.
Yeah, I'll go. Sorry, dude. I'll go with Kudakov all day. I mean, I can't take an Iron Man match over a world title. Come on.
Of course you will, Sam. I appreciate that.
Okay. So, dude, Russia, though, is just so much learning. But, like, it turns my stomach to look back on it. And not just, like, diseases we could have gotten. I remember I scraped my arm on a bathroom stall door. It was like I was like, dude, what did I just get? How many diseases did I just get? And it was just like nothing. And, I mean, it was 11 years ago, and I just thought nothing of it. I remember putting Band-Aids on it and just rolling. But, man, it was just different times.
It's a weird place. Let me tell you this. 2008, the first time I went there, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was, like, so scared because I didn't even know how to do flow yet. But I got on this train. To go to St. Petersburg with Maxime. I'm like, Maxime, I got to go pee, man. And he's like, you can't go pee right now. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, you just got to wait. 20 minutes later, he's like, all right, you can go pee now. I go into the bathroom, and I go pee, and I flush the toilet. Zeb, I saw the bottom of the train tracks.
The tracks were rolling through.
And then all of a sudden I got it. It's like I couldn't pee at the train station because it would be right there.
Yeah, you got to wait until the train's moving.
That was 2008, Zeb. That's a similar reason I couldn't upload videos there because there was no internet. There was no internet. That country was a little bit behind us at the time.
Understatement. Didn't you and Bader get got the computer stolen, didn't you?
Oh, that's kind of a secret story, but yeah.
I mean, really? Does it matter now?
2012, Zeb.
That was when
maybe I'll send it to you. There's some footage called secret Russian footage.
That's when you guys are.
We didn't even know we recorded it till we got back.
That they put that out there, by the way. That's like you guys wrestling the drunk Russians, right?
A couple weeks after we got back from Russia, I remember the minute Mark comes up to me. He's like, "Joe, you're not going to believe what's on my camera." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" All this footage from the hour before we forgot everything.
You had no shirts on wrestling the drunk Russian guys, right?
Yeah, we didn't remember recording any of that. So they pulled Mark's computer. And not only that, he had copied over all the heavyweight matches onto the computer and they stole it. So he had to work really hard to recover.
Didn't you guys find it? Didn't you have a recovery mode of getting it back off the cameras or something?
Yeah. He ended up getting all the semifinals, 3rd and 5th place, and championship matches. But basically, it gave it to Mark in 30 different files. So
and you had to splice them
and get it. But I remember when that happened, the next day, Mark just being miserable, and he actually went off on he just started sprinting down St. Petersburg, Russia, because he didn't know what he was going to do, and he didn't tell Flo for years.
They didn't know that. So this is new. This is new. We're putting it out. We're putting it out there.
This is G14 classified.
I love it. The people are getting this for free right now.
He computer on his own dime because basically it was his fault.
You guys left the stuff uploading. You left it uploading in a lobby. You went up, got drunk with the Russian guys. You came back. The computer was gone.
Mark, we started drinking vodka and eating raw salmon with these guys in arm wrestling. And
no shirts. No shirts.
Bed, right? And I don't remember this. We went to bed. Mark, man, because he's such a team player, he went out to the lobby and started uploading videos. But he passed out. And that's when they stole his computer. And the next day, we didn't even know what happened. We looked for the computer all over the whole room. And then we put a sign up on our door, missing computer. If you know where it is, we'll give you $1,000. Well, the manager of the hotel comes up and is like, listen, you guys are idiots.
They're going to shake you down and steal your money.
You want somebody to know you have $1,000 up here? They're going to steal it from you, right? Take the sign off your door, you bunch of jerks. And, yeah, that's that.
Oh, my God. Okay, so we'll get back to 2012.
We're just naive Americans, right?
Oh, yeah.
Come
on, let's say hi. You can say hi real quick.
Who we got?
Thomas.
Tommy boy.
Tommy boy. They wrestled with you. Hold on. Don't spill the edge drink.
Hey, Ferd. Oh, I see Ferd.
There it is.
Zeb, your boys are some handsome dudes.
I know. What happened? Yeah, they got their moms.
Yeah, it's all your amazing wife, Zeb.
That's what it is. They got their moms. She can say hi. Come on in. Say hi, Mom.
Still in my morning pajamas.
Yeah.
I want to see Jackie.
Hey, how are ya?
He wants to see Jackie. He said
I want to see Jackie.
I don't know where Jackie Boy is. I'll try to get him. Jackie Boy! I hear Mom. I hear the mom.
Okay.
Hey,
Jackie
congratulations on number 2 coming.
What? Yeah, number 2 is.
Pretty.
Ryan Willman had another one.
There you go, buddy. That's awesome. I love it. We're building them. Building champions.
3.9 pounds. 3 pounds 9 ounces. That's what I meant to say.
His was?
I think it was 6 to 9 months early. 6 to 9 weeks early.
Oh,
9
wow.
months early. Oh my god. 9 weeks early.
Say hey.
Yeah.
God,
Bye.
Tommy Boy is growing up.
Tommy's a hoss.
They grow so fast, you know.
You know how it goes. All right.
Oh,
All right, say good night, Dad.
I love you.
Good night, Dad.
Give me a kiss. Kiss. Oh, give me a kiss on the hat. Thanks.
yeah, we've been telling all the secrets. I think Mark might be mad at me.
No, listen. Let's just go with that. Did they make him better than Mark Bader? Did they make him any better than Mark Bader? The bus.
They do not. They do not.
I'll tell you what. Even if you look at their company right now, who's really grinding right now during this quarantine? Who's really getting the job done? The Bader show.
Man.
They don't make them better than Mark Bader. And see you guys. Speaking of which, 2012, back to it. Mark Bader and I grew so close in 2012, in August of 2012, because Joe Williamson went off on some magical romantic affair in London.
I met my wife.
Yeah, that. When you ditched us in London.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. It worked out pretty well. Worked out real well, didn't it?
Isn't that crazy? Zeb, you just sent me a bunch of pictures. You just sent me a bunch of pictures from those first days hanging out with Laura. And yeah, that was wild. Without Mark Bader, I wouldn't be married. Well, maybe I would, but to somebody else. But without Mark Bader, I wouldn't have Laura and Jack here.
Isn't that crazy, man? So 2012 was it was awesome. Where'd you guys meet? I forget. It was right before I got there. It was like the night before I got there.
The first night we got there, I mean, we were all jet lagged and everything, but it's just you gotta go out and do stuff. The first night we were there, we went to that pub at the park right by our flat, and then some other young dude was there, and he was like, "Dude, we got to go to this bohemian bar called the Dolphin," and we go there, and the same cat is hitting on who would be my future wife, but the whole time I was I knew I was totally into her. Yeah.
So did we.
Then,
So did we when you ditched us for 2 weeks.
yeah, I didn't care about you guys one day.
I think that we figured that out pretty quick. So Bader and I would hang out.
You called her Hermione the whole time.
Yeah, I did. I did call her Hermione. Hey, how about him and I would hang out on that balcony, right by the train tracks, and we hung out. We would cut videos. We all slept in that bed together. You remember us all sleeping in that bed together before you went and stayed with her all the time?
Yeah. How could I forget? It was a 3 to 4 man bed.
Yeah, Fenton was in there too.
I did you guys a favor and I stopped coming home.
There you go. Was it Fenton?
Fenton, yeah, Flow Track.
Yeah, is he still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolute.
Yeah, that guy, he's a killer too. We watched Leo Manzano. I don't know if you remember that. Leo Manzano.
How could I forget? That was one of the most exciting, except, when he didn't win the gold because that other dude was doping like crazy. Lagat? Was that the other guy?
Is that who it was? Yeah, Lagat. Was it Lagat?
But,
Are you sure?
But Zeb, we watched Jordan Burroughs win an Olympic gold together.
That was amazing. And then I got to go to all the sessions, and you and Mark split.
Yeah, I didn't go to. I only went to one session actually.
And it was just the Burrow. Well, it was the morning.
Burroughs won. Hey, and Varner.
Yes. No, Varner was the last day. Varner was with Coleman Scott.
Really?
Yeah, Varner was the last day with Coleman Scott. Because Scott took the bronze and Varner won. Yeah, you might have
I
gone to
remember
you might have gone to
he was-
Herbert.
Zeb, you know how I knew I was in love? We went to the Olympic, the freestyle team party together, and I just wanted to leave the whole time. It was the last night we were in London, and I was like, I'm gonna go hang out with this chick.
Dude, that was awesome. They invited us to the party. Jordan Burroughs kept smashing the top of my beers.
I got a picture of. I should have never done this. I look back, I shouldn't have done it, but biting Coleman Scott's medal.
I have one biting Varner's medal.
So you got a gold. I only got a bronze.
I think I got to bite both medals. Whatever. I was happy.
Oh yeah.
2012, man.
That was, nobody else was doing this kind of stuff in 2012 and before. You know.
It's crazy though to look at it.
All the NCAAs. You remember, we would just be in the back of the. We would be hanging out with all the athletes and coaches. Nobody else was doing interviews or anything like that.
It was cool, man. It was a neat ride, man. I just I don't regret it. I'm glad that I got to offshoot with GoHioCast, and you have Grow Wrestling now, and it's a really cool thing to be able to like continue to grow your brand. But I'll tell you, the old 09 through even just like 2012, 08 through 2012 of Flow Wrestling, and when Martin brought Mark on it with Pure Fight, I did Mark's first coverage with him on Pure Fight. We had like Phil Davis, Sean Salmon, Matt Coker fought. We had all these wrestlers that fought, and it was an NAAFS thing, which is what Stipe Miocic started in. And we went and did a thing in Columbus, and then we did some Ohio State stuff. Tom Ryan got us tickets for a Ohio State game, and everybody either had red and scarlet or gray on, and Mark Bader had a gold Vianney shirt.
Of course you did.
It was awesome.
Of course it, dude. I'll tell you what. I mean, must have been like 4 or 5 months ago now. We surprised Mark Bader at his mom lives in St. Louis, Missouri, and he was in town, and it was a surprise birthday party for his dad, but it was also a surprise birthday party for Mark. So they had just got back from the dinner they went to. I wish you could have seen the look on Mark's face. He came into the house, and there's 20 of his closest friends there.
I love it.
He walks in, and you could see in his face like, "What the heck? What the heck?" And all of a sudden, this is for me. It was so exciting.
Totally worth it. Could you ever think a little guy could stink so bad?
Mark Bader appreciates his friends more than anybody in the entire world. I appreciate you, dude. He's got your back.
Yes.
He'll do anything for his friends.
But you missed what I just said. Did you ever think a little guy could stink so bad?
Oh, dude, I would never call him a little guy because he'd beat my ass if I said that. But absolutely, you're right. No little guy could smell that bad.
I mean, you would think that guy is a 380-pound weightlifter or like a strongman. The way he smells horrendous. And he'll get on the road and he's probably just eating whatever he can eat, and he'll be drinking some beers and he's working real hard and he'll start sweating. I got this video of him and I in a hotel room in Columbus when he came to cover the state tournament. My nephew Dawson filmed me just like kicking the crap out of him on a GoPro for like 10 minutes.
It was probably the best 10 minutes of his life.
He smelled so bad. He stunk so bad. He don't give up though.
Yeah, he's the best dude on the planet.
He's awesome. Sure. Mark Bader is he's the glue, man. He's the glue. He just love that guy. The bus stash.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I mean, the 2008 to 2012 or so, when you were at, it was really a hard grind at Flow. He accepted every challenge, every single challenge.
Yeah, that guy is just
absolute crusher.
Yeah, if you want something done, you give it to Mark Bader. You want the job done, Mark Bader gets it. It was just like, you want the job done, get Joe.
You know what, though? There's so many good, we say that, but like, dude, you were huge. Ian McCutcheon, huge. Mark Morris, huge. Gene Stevens, not a better guy to be on the road with. Like, besides just crushing it the whole time, that guy would like have a journal full of ideas to make everything better. Like, it was just a perfect storm of people. It was a perfect storm of people to kind of grow that Flow brand.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a very organic thing. It was like when you first started.
All people that wanted it for the right reason, you know.
Yeah, and then as you guys grew, it's like they have expense accounts now. You guys didn't have expense accounts then. It was like, I'm sending you here, figure it out. There was a lot of that.
No, dude, all the people I named. Hey, let's add Cliff Fretwell and Lee Roper and Matty B and all these people that would stay up till 4 a.m. naming files and uploading videos. And I would say, guys, go to bed. No, we're not going to bed until everything's done, And tomorrow we'll all be miserable for it. But that's just what we're gonna do.
Drinking steel reserves. Oh,
really,
tough,
really,
good guys. I mean,
people are making a lot of money now off of what was started by people that did it for free.
Yeah,
that did it for nothing. A free cheeseburger.
Yep.
Free cheeseburger.
Yep.
That's what we'll say.
You're right, and it was like, man, that Moscow cheeseburger you bought me was probably the biggest lifesaver I've ever had. By the way, you bought me this crappy cheeseburger, and I was like, so sick.
Dude,
from.
Zeb, that wasn't beef.
Oh yeah, that was like.
That wasn't beef.
It was Soylent Green. It's made of people. I don't even know what it was, right? But like, do you remember I gave somebody there was this school there, Trinity, Kentucky. I gave the guy I had a hoodie on. It said Trinity Wrestling. I gave the guy my hoodie. Do you remember that or not? Yeah, I gave away the hoodie that I had. We were in Moscow, and there was a kid. He's like, "That's where I went to high school." I was like, "Here you go." I'm sweating uncontrollably right now. Don't worry, I won't need it.
It is a small world.
I think you actually mailed me a check. You borrowed money from me and mailed me a check after that, by the way. We ran out of money in Moscow. Do you remember that? But I brought extra.
I think I owe Tigran money to this
Yeah,
day.
I think we owe Tigran. I owe him a down comforter. I know that. I do.
Zeb, that ride to the airport that morning was...
Oh, dude, how about like he went down, he got us to the cab, he did the two-finger thing, him and the guy argued, and they took us to the airport, and he was like, they didn't have any lanes, and he just like merged into this big like horde of traffic. It was so crazy, and I was like, oh, and I couldn't roll the window down. I was
50% chance we weren't coming back.
Oh yeah, it was
everything just worked out perfect.
What a mess.
Remember Tigran bought bacon. We were gonna eat raw bacon on the plane.
Do you remember when he was loading up my plate with all the meat that first day?
Yeah, I thought we weren't gonna talk about that, but
we're bringing it up. We're bringing it up. I don't even care, even a little bit. Okay. First day we're there.
It was green antibiotic.
It was green dog butt cream on his hands. And he was handling all the meat that he was putting on my plate with it. And how about their sense of refrigeration is very different, or lack thereof completely, with their meats. They must just like salt the meat. I don't know. But he just, remember, and he kept just loading. I was like, dude, I'm good. That's just.
It's my brother.
Hey, my brother's dog. He called his dog his brother. Oh, man. And he lived in the Hotel Ukraine. It's the craziest thing, which is one of those 7 huge buildings. And he lived right across from the presidential palace on the Moscow River.
Yeah.
Dude, it was where it was at.
We were lucky to be there, but there's no middle class there, right?
Yeah.
And luckily, Tigran was up here.
What a good guy, man.
You're rich or you have nothing.
Yeah, you're rich or nothing. And
that's right. There's like a Bentley parallel parked next to some car you've never even heard of.
Volga One of their car brands is Volga. And remember, we were on the Volga River.
Did you say Olga and Tatiana?
All right. You don't need to bring that up. How do you get these girls with no words? You remember that?
No.
You don't? He was like, how do you get girls with no words?
Of course I do.
And then, Joe, the girl you're talking to is very beautiful. Zeb, the one you're talking to is not enough vodka or something. And then you know how that ended up. Old Tigran went back on his word. Old Tigran.
One of the best trips of my life.
So much fun. London 2012. You met your wife. You're going on kid number 2. If I would have told you that in August of 2012, hey man, you're really screwing us over. This is supposed to be bro time. And you know, could you have ever thought in London 2012 August that you would have been like, well, Zab, since you said that, I'll stick around. Would you have ever thought that you'd be where you are with her right now, going on kid number 2 in Kansas City?
Before or after I saw her for the first time? I'm telling you that after she took me out on a date a couple days later from there, I knew it was something good.
You knew it was the real thing.
Good.
You knew it was the good stuff, huh? The real deal.
Yeah, I knew that I didn't know what good was before I met her.
There you go. That's how you know, buddy. And if you don't know, now you know, Joe. You know, that's the way you got to look at it. So, but like, did you ever think that? So you had a pretty good idea then. I think you just answered it. Yeah, like you had a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that's what, what I was doing in the past. I think about it a lot, all my best experiences, a lot of my best experiences, I was doing stuff with Flo, I was hanging out with you, I was traveling the world, and I grew a lot, and it's been really amazing. Now I'm glad that I'm back where I am, and that I pulled this international lady into Grain Valley, Missouri. I'm back by my family again, but I'm a totally different person than when I left Missouri in 2008.
So, you look at it, there's been like these sections of your life, right? So it was like 2008, and then 2012 you met her, right? All right. When did your dad pass away?
2013.
2013.
Flown Atmos. The last thing I remember before I got that phone call was I was filming Zeke Moisey warming up, and then I got a phone call from my stepsister, and then I texted her saying, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit busy. And then she texted me back and she said, it's about Dad, and I knew something was wrong. Yeah. And,
you look at that moment, and that like really changed your life, obviously, because he was such a huge part of your life. I
was actually thinking about that earlier today, Zeb, because, we were texting about doing this, and I remember, all the people that my dad appreciated, and that we would go to like these big events that were important to him. You were there. My brother was there. Mark Bader, Brooks Zumas.
Dr. Brooks Zumas. Dr. Brooks Zumas.
Gosh, the most amazing person ever. Those are just like my favorite memories now, because they were ones that I know he really loved, and like we just had these great experiences at the NCAAs and the U.S. Open and the World Team Trials. Des Moines, Iowa. So the last time I saw him, you were there, Brooke was there, James was there, Mark was there.
2013, Des Moines.
Yep.
Yeah, and my wife was there too. You remember? I remember my biggest draw to your dad was obviously he worked for the NEA, National Education Association of Kansas. And he was obviously an advocate for educators, and I'm an educator. I'm a lifelong educator. You were an educator at one point. Mark Bader was an educator. James, your brother, educator, right? I mean, you look at it, coach, educator, however you want to look at it, but like that was like my big draw to him, and he was just like, he had a ton of like experience when it came to education and teaching kids, and then relating to educators as well, because he later moved on to like an administrative role with the NEA in Kansas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what with Will Zab was, even before it was all said and done with him, is you used to always tell me how much you appreciated him and the things that he said before he was gone, and it was like a big deal to me. And so I just always thought that was really cool. It was like a point of pride. Just that you said that stuff, and someone thought that he was as cool as I thought he was.
Oh, for sure. He was like a hero, dude. It's like, that's what I'd like to do someday, like help my fellow educators out. I just don't know if I'm like, I don't know if I'm like, I could go in like a hardcore union thing like he did. But I think his thing was like guiding people, and I would love to guide people like he did. That's what I really liked about it. And he understood educators, and I always got a great vibe from him, and I just love hanging out with him and hearing stories. And I loved when he like got a tattoo as like a 50-plus-year-old man. I liked all that.
That was all dorky, but he loved it, right?
I loved it. But that's what I liked about your dad, and he was just fun. It was like hanging out with a guy who was 30 years younger. Would you agree with that?
Yep, absolutely.
And then meeting your aunt.
I think he made people feel good. He made anybody feel good that was around him, because it was about them more than it was about him.
Yeah. And then meeting your grandma.
He always had something good to say.
Yeah. And then when we did the Mark Hall thing, we stayed with your hot aunt. And I got to meet your grandma.
My grandma.
Yeah. And she called him the prince. Oh, that was my prince, my Jack. Remember? She was like, he was my prince. Because it was your dad and a bunch of sisters, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was my grandma's house, and then my Aunt Diane.
Hot Diane.
Yeah.
Hot Aunt Diane. Was she live in Colorado? I forget.
What's that?
Did she live in Colorado? I forget. Was that it?
So everybody moved that was Ore Lake, Michigan. Grandma moved to Colorado. We since lost her. And then Aunt Linda, that lived in Whitfield, Michigan, moved out there as well. And then Aunt Diane, that was the neighbor to Grandma, also, she's got a house in Golden Mountain? And then in Florida.
Okay.
So nobody lives on that lake anymore. But no, you went through the Williamsons for sure.
Yeah, and then 2015, I remember I woke up. It was just James and I in the hotel room, and I remember he couldn't find anything to drink out of, so there was an empty bottle of like Jim Beam, and he took it and he filled it up with water from the tap, and he was chugging it. I was like, oh. And the hotel.
He's just a whole different cat now. He's a whole different cat. He would never do that anymore.
Well, he was drinking water, but he was drinking it out of like a liquor bottle. It was like, but I don't even think he like dumped it all out. He was, I'm so thirsty. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. And then I think we shared a cab to the.
We did a lot of weird stuff, didn't we?
Yeah, and then him and I shared a cab to the airport. Vegas Worlds. You worked for UWW during Vegas Worlds.
Oh yeah, give me Vaughn.
Yeah, give me Vaughn. Give me Rick Vaughn.
Hey.
Give me Vaughn.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, who did the Godoya versus Burroughs match?
Give me Vaughn. Give me Rick Vaughn. It's the tribe.
Zeb. I remember when they called me out of the stands, I was cross-eyed. They said, "Go put some jeans on."
They gave you that. You gave me the polo. I have the polo.
Yeah.
The polo you wore.
Nominated for him.
He did.
They never felt that energy before.
They didn't know what hit him. It was like a tsunami of
They
energy.
never felt that energy.
No. Joe, when did you leave? When did you leave Flow Wrestling for the first time and move to California?
2013. You know, it was right after we lost my dad.
And you were like
You know,
this
stuff
huge
was
crossroad.
weird, and I just needed a change of pace. And I left the second half of that year, and then I came back the beginning of 2014.
But you learned like kind of a big lesson with that, and you know it's not always what people say. You know, like you make a deal with someone, and then I think you learned a lot about trust. Then I think with this group
Yeah.
you're with now, I think you had to make that leap of faith when you had when they let you go, because you left on your own terms in 2013, and they let you go in 2017. Would you say is that right? Or
Yeah.
18?
It's interesting. You know, I left Flow. I was just a kid still. I remember it was only a few months later that I realized I made a mistake. And I remember calling Martin, like I just freaked out all of a sudden. I called him, I was like, Martin, I messed up. I effed up. I shouldn't have done it. And he said, no, Joe. He said this. He said, no, you took a chance just like you did with the dirty hippie in 2008. But that time it worked. And, you know, whatever you need, just let me know. A couple months later, I gave him, another month later, I gave him a call and said I wanted to come back. And he's like, I'll have an offer for you on Monday. When can you get here? I'm like, Monday, I'll get back. Yeah, that was just a really weird time.
And you were driving back, I remember, in your Honda Civic, and you got caught in like some crazy weather in Colorado, right?
Oh my gosh, the scaredest I ever was in my whole life. I was stuck in the top of a mountain, and I knew it was going to be trouble. Somehow I made it back to this hotel. They told me there was no rooms left. Every room was done. I was like, I'm sleeping in the, I said, I'm sleeping in the parking lot then in my car. And the guy's like, okay, no, we have one more room. And then I was like, listen, if somebody else is in the same kind of trouble I am, they can sleep in the extra bed. Super scary.
Did anybody take the other bed?
No.
No.
Nobody took the other bed, but I didn't care if they would have.
You were so scared. When did the weather break? Like the next day?
No, yeah. So I went from San Francisco area I went to Cal Poly. Buckley was there, and then I went to Bakersfield, and it was oh shoot, what was his name that went to Boise State after that?
Oh, Mike Mendoza?
Mendoza?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I drove to Vegas, and my good buddy Ben Askren was there for Fight Week. And then I was going from there to Colorado Springs because my aunt was there. And I got stuck in, was it Fresno? Frisco. I got stuck in Frisco, and I was trying to go over this pass. And that's where it got really weird and scary. I stayed in a hotel 2 nights there, and then I got to, it cleared up, and I got to Colorado Springs. Stayed there for a couple days before I made it back to Missouri. When I got back to Missouri, I remember thinking, there's no way I'll get it back to Missouri without not knowing the next step. Like, I'll have a job by then. You know, I felt like I was pretty connected, and I knew a lot of people. And I told myself, if I get back to Columbia, I'll just substitute teach. I'll rent a house, and I'll figure out the next step. Well, when I got back to Columbia, I pulled up to my favorite disc golf course, and I panicked. Like, I got out of my car, and I just panicked, and that's when I called Martin. And I'm like, Martin, I want to come back to Flow. And that's when he was like, all right, when can you get back here?
How about that dude's like an incredible judge of like character? But do you love or hate Martin Floriani? He doesn't take no for
fight him.
Yeah.
Zeb, I'd street fight him. but then at the same time, I learned more from that guy. He's a bigger part of my life. There's some things that really would hurt my feelings, but I learned more from him than anybody but my dad.
It's like,
so it is what it is. It's all a learning process.
It's crazy because he's the president, he's the CEO essentially. He's the number one guy at the company. When they eventually let you go as a rights acquisition person, but for you to still be able to say these things about him, that's amazing to me.
He was sitting in the room. He watched that happen. It was one of the most painful things ever. But at the same time, when Martin's watching that happen, and I think, man, this is a guy that, like, I can't even believe I'm saying it. This is a guy that I think understands what it takes to get to the next level and be like a total boss. Then maybe this isn't the thing for me anymore. Because if it was, he wouldn't let me go.
So when you look at it, this has come full circle now. You're back. You moved. You kind of like hung out in Austin for a little bit. Your wife was still working there. And then you had Jack there, right? You had Jack in Austin, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you had Jack in Austin. And it was like all this stuff, like, dude, you've had like so much stuff like packed into like in a 5-year period. Think about it.
It was super tough. My wife is from London, England. Green Valley, Missouri is not what's normal for her. I want to stay involved in wrestling. I miss my family. I wanted to come back here, and I basically had to get the okay from her to do that. This is a totally different world than she's used to, and she's supporting this stuff. That's why I just got to make this work up here, make these events work, make pro wrestling work. Yeah.
When you make that move back and you start to work with Gons and Blue Chip, what was that like? And yet it's just like another one leap of faith right after another for you, Joe, and another big move. What was that like?
The guys at Blue Chip are totally awesome. They believe in me, I think, and they care about me. They care about wrestling. It's more than. I have to be careful saying it's more than just a business. But they're the guys I want to be near. They're the guys I think this is the right place for me in this time of my life. I need guys like that to help me. I need guys like that to help me succeed right now. And I need that confidence, and I feel like they're like behind me 100%. And I can learn, like, they're super smart, super savvy. I have a lot to learn from them. They're different than a guy like Martin Floriani. But a different kind of smart. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, Gons is Wharton.
This is the right place for me. You've been around them, Zeb. You came up here and saw the events. You got the. It's just a different kind of business, and it's. I love it. I love it here,
dude. That event, that Fall Brawl event, that's a really good event. The venue's sick. I don't even know if you have it there anymore. That venue's sick. It was like. You just moved it to what is that venue, by the way?
That's Hy-Vee Arena. It used to be called Kemper Arena. That's where the 2003 NCAA tournament was.
And they've changed it completely. They leveled it, right? They added a level to it.
There's 2 floors. And now, Fall Brawl is not even our best event there. There's this event called the Kansas City Stampede. I believe
I saved that. I saved the Stampede. I saved it. Not a big deal.
Zeb. It's going to be challenging Ironman for the best tournament in the country.
I like where your head's at. I like your confidence.
Because, we can fit 20 mats there. It's a whole different event. It's in the very middle of the country. I believe in the next 3-4 years, it's going to be in the discussion for being the top tournament in the country.
When is it this year?
December 18th, 19th.
So it's the week after Ironman.
64 teams.
Can individuals come?
Yes, individuals can come, and then the difference is, so it's a 64-man double elimination tournament. But if you go 0-2, 1-1, or 2-2, 0-2, 1-1, 2-2, then you get to go into another bracket the next day. So you're not eliminated. If you get eliminated
nice.
the first day, you get to wrestle other tournaments, another bracket with people with like records, and so it's perfect for everybody.
Wow. I've never heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we can do that because we have 20 mats. We don't just have 12 mats.
Yeah, and it's all in one room.
Yeah,
that's what I like.
Yeah. If we want, we can add another 12 mats downstairs.
Jeez, Pete.
So there's 2 surfaces.
I don't know what to
It's
say.
gonna be the best thing in the country. That's happening.
I got a friend I got to talk to.
Get there doing content.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll see if it works out for you guys. If we have the tournament this year, if we have wrestling this year.
Yeah, I have a tournament September 14th. Is that the date? September 4th, October 3rd, and then December 18th, 19th. I'm actually worried about all of them. You know, who really knows what's going to happen with all this COVID stuff?
Nobody. I don't. You don't. None of us know. It's just how it is.
And I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Right down the street, I have my parents that are in their 60s and my grandma that's 95. We haven't seen them for a month now.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about it. Wow. That's wild, Joe. Wow. And they're a huge part of why you're even there.
Yeah. What's the deal in Ohio? They just moved everything back to May 15th.
I saw phase 1's May 1st, where they're going to start opening gyms. Yeah, gyms and a bunch of other stuff. School, we don't have school the rest of the year. We have online distance learning.
Oh, yeah, you're doing that at home, huh? My
Zoom.
mom's doing that. She's at University of Missouri, Kansas City, music theory teacher. She's got a whole studio in her basement now.
That's kind of cool, but at the same time, I still miss being in the classroom and kids being able to be present and like see how crazy I am rather than see it over a computer screen.
That's structure for a lot of kids that don't have a family like yours at home, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to think about it, man. I reflect on it a lot, and I'm just like, I can't believe this is real, but new normal and a lot of things have changed, and that's the world we live in. Like you said, you'd rather be safe than sorry, right? And, I was so terrified about it when it started with young kids, and the science and the data I've gotten back we've all gotten back is kids are more asymptomatic carriers than they are. The real risk is your parents, my parents, right? They're the real risk. And then people with other underlying diabetes, respiratory, heart, whatever, right? Any people with issues like that, they're even more susceptible to severe infection or death, right? So, hey, I interviewed T.R. Foley.
I saw that.
It's Tim, by the way. TR is just this pen name. And Tim had it. I don't know if you know. Tim had COVID-19.
No way. I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
And he recovered from it.
No way. Of course he did. He's a freaking
yeah.
He's a strapping young man.
Exactly. So Tim recovered from it. Tim lives in Manhattan, too, with his baby and his wife. And, you would think someone like Tim Foley would recover from it, but I've seen these cases where perfectly healthy people like Tim Foley, they succumb to it. Now, most of it, people do have underlying health conditions, right? But I think you have the anomaly.
Wrestler, baby.
Yeah, but I think you have the anomalies where it's like if you have like a Tim Foley, who's a guy in his 30s. Former D1 All-American athlete, I think that there's those rare ones like that too, right? I wouldn't want to take the chance. If I have control over it just to stay home, I'd rather stay home. But he lived in New York City, he lives in Manhattan. He has he can't really avoid that, you know what I mean?
That's the scariest place there is.
Yeah, I mean, if you, it's the epicenter in America, right? Joe, like Dad passed away 7 years ago. Almost it's 7 years this month, isn't it?
Crazy,
Right?
April 6th.
What do you think the thing your dad would be most proud of you about?
Oh, my son. No doubt about it.
That was easy. I was waiting for this long drawn out. My son. My son who I named after him. Oh, okay. Let's move on. Hey, sup, that was easy. My son.
Oh.
Well, and then here. When's the next one coming, Joe?
September 25.
Yeah, so September 25 or thereafter. I'm guessing.
Zebulina?
Yeah. Stop it. Hermione.
Hermione.
You're welcome. Boom.
I want to call her Laura so bad my wife won't have it.
No, she's not into the Loretta. Oh, no. Okay.
I don't know.
What's next, Joe?
Yeah.
What's they cancel your events? What do you do?
Hey, man, keep trucking. There's nothing I can do. It sucks because I'm missing these reps on, I'm still like a C- tournament director. When I think about what I feel like at my events and I compare it to like Sarah and Dave at Super 32 or Frank Papalizio, I'm just nowhere even near that level. So I miss getting those events to get better, but a little adversity never hurt anybody. Luckily, I have some good support. I want to make these tournaments as good as possible, and then enjoy doing content. Like that's what I love to do the most. It's the relationships I've got through wrestling that I want to continue to keep that going.
Martin brings you back. He puts you in some rights acquisition role. It's not the right role for you. You're a content guy. You're a people person. Someone put on Twitter, like within the last month, they're like, whatever happened to Joe Williamson? Whatever happened to Joe Flo? And I was like, hashtag unpopular question, unpopular opinion. He was the best. And I wrote hashtag unpopular opinion. Right? But yeah, like it's almost like people don't want to talk about you and give you your credit you're due. You went and you did this other thing and you moved back home. But how bad was that other job? Like, how much did you want to just be back in content?
I would have cut my pay in half.
They could have given you 50% of what you were making just so you could go and travel and cover tournaments like you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's say you made $100,000. You'd have taken a...
Zeb, it takes weird experiences to make you understand what makes you happy and what doesn't. Right? It's not a lot of money that makes me happy. It's getting to be around people that I love to be around. I love being around the community, the wrestling community. I want to be on the floor. When I was doing rights acquisition, the people that were in my department, they would get their rocks off getting a contract signed, and I just didn't care. I'd get more excited editing a video that people really loved, or being by Terry Brands or John Smith or at the Las Vegas Invite, being like right in the mix of all the stuff that made me excited. It was, it's end of the day, it's probably a really good thing that I get to feel what I don't like.
How is your relationship with Martin Floriani?
I'd punch him in the nose, but I love the guy.
After you punch him in the nose, you have to fight him.
Yeah, and I'd probably lose because that guy has zero give up in him.
He's so crazy.
Nah, I like that guy a lot.
But he got you on Rockfin, so he was able to, right? I mean, he got you to buy into him again, didn't he?
I mean, that's not as much about Martin as just like right now, it's like the most important thing is I get the most eyeballs on what I'm doing. If you think about Flow Wrestling, it's not like Flow Wrestling didn't make any money before it built a big community around it, right? The most important thing is the most people see grow wrestling stuff, and then down the road, find a way for it to make more money. But it's just about eyeballs, not about making the fastest profit possible.
Joe, how do we grow? I'll do anything to help you grow wrestling with your site, Grow Wrestling. You know that. I give you content, whatever it takes, right? I do whatever I can to help you. What do you think we can do to help not grow the sport of wrestling, but grow your site and grow your brand of Grow Wrestling?
Hey, I just got to put on dynamite wrestling events. Try to do cool wrestling content and put on really good wrestling events that make people happy and enjoy them. I mean, it's on me, really.
Do you like
Luckily,
it?
I have really good support.
Do you like it when you can bring someone in like me? Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's Rob Gore. Maybe it's Mark Neiman. Maybe it's Cliff Fretwell. Maybe it's someone who creates content, right? Do you like let's say Mark Bader comes in, right? That'd be like a dream to you. Mark Bader's probably the best in the business. Between you and Mark Bader, you're the best in the business, in my opinion, when it comes to creating content, interviewing people.
So the hard part for me right now is like the content part's my favorite part, right? But I've learned in the last year that running these tournaments, I can't focus on the content part because there's 1,000 things happening, and I'm not even really that good at it yet. So the best thing I can do is bring on somebody like you or Mark Neiman. If I could have a Cliff Fretwell there, that's what's going to be best for my events right now.
So yeah, you don't have to worry about the content creation.
I don't think there's ever a scenario where I'm so organized that I can do. Except when you came to the Fall Brawl, you did 100 interviews. I didn't do an interview until the finals happened, just because it's not possible.
You're putting out so many fires and getting people their awards and making sure about sheets get turned in. And
I don't think there's ever going to be a time where I'm at my event doing enough content to feel good about it. I'm going to always have to hire somebody to have them do that piece. Okay.
Do you want to tell the story real quick about that time I saved the KC Stampede?
Yeah, it's a great story. So, Paul DeFosse, he runs. What's his business called? Takedown.
It's computer software and score clocks.
Yeah. So
he's out of Rhode Island.
This is before I had anything to do with Stampede, but I just organized the stuff with Flow and the score clock. Well, I get a call from the Stampede guys, and Paul DeFosse is driving down all the score clocks, and he does the meet management, but he rolls his van. He rolls his van with all the equipment in it, and
in Akron.
What do we do?
In Akron.
Yeah. So I get a call, Joe, what can we do? And I'm like, I know this guy, Zeb Miller. I'm going to call him. He probably knows a college guy that wants to make some money and drive it down. I call Zeb. Zeb says, dude, I got this. Zeb goes and picks up Paul. He's got broken ribs.
No. I was like, I'll have my dad do it. My dad eventually is like, Zeb, I just can't do it. I got to work. I got iron work to do tomorrow. Paul drives to my house and picks me up in a snowstorm. Go.
And then you drove from there, right? Because he's all zonked out.
Yep, 15 hours.
Vacation.
15 hours.
Well, you drop off all the equipment. The tournament gets set up just in time. You got to the airport just before your flight back.
Yes.
Stampede is saved.
I left here at 5 o'clock that night in a snowstorm. we drove into a 50-mile-an-hour headwind, and they loaded it into a Ryder truck. They loaded it into like a U-Haul, Ryder, whatever, like a cross-country moving truck. And those don't have cruise control, so I just straightened my leg and stuck it all the way to the floor, the throttle, the gas pedal, and it was like a wind sail, huh?
You drove me through a blizzard after the Ironman in like 2009.
Yeah, it was crazy too. I remember that.
You popped your tire.
Yeah, I blew my tire. That's right. We just kept rolling with the 4-wheel drive, but I got to Stampede, and is it Carrie?
Yeah, Carrie Williamson.
Carrie picks me up. He drops me off, and I walk right onto the plane. And I connected through like Nashville or Memphis, and then I was standing in my driveway here. The Uber driver was from Haiti. He was speaking French the whole time. Drops me off. He wouldn't come out my driveway. And he was like, we got like a foot of snow. And I drove it through there, and it made it there, and they just got the clocks and everything set up for the first whistle. And the Carrie guy saw me at the fall brawl, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's you!" And he was like, oh, give me a hug. It was awesome. I love it. So I think I'm going to try and get a really good guy to come to Stampede this year. I have to talk to somebody. December 18th.
You should come. Gene Stevens is coming this year.
Well, I think you got it all covered.
He's on the team.
Well,
That's the guy you want around.
Gene's with the tugboats, right? Tug Life?
He was. I don't think he's Tug Life anymore.
He's not Tug Life anymore. I like Gene. Gene's a good guy.
He's the kind of guy that makes anything better that he touches. So
absolutely. Great guy. Joe, we've been on here for an hour and almost 20 minutes. Is there any story? Is there any?
Probably put back to bed.
Do you have any stories for me? Anything else that you want? Anything you want to talk about? Anything that I missed? Anything? Any hot seating?
Man, I love you like crazy. Like I said, the things I appreciate about my last 15 years are the friends that I made along the way, and you're a big piece of that. I appreciate you like crazy. And I look forward to next time our paths cross.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, man, you're good stuff. I just trust you with my life. I'm super glad that you let me lick my wounds in Moscow. Oh, hey, do you remember that Godsalov was on our train from Moscow to Kazan?
Do I remember that all the Russians came to watch their wrestling matches?
Do you remember?
How about that Kent State duel? Dustin Kilgore! He's got his headgear on.
Yeah, and that was the junior high move, too.
Oh, yeah, Matt Cathell.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, junior high move. And
was that also the slam on the net?
Tassari?
Was that Ohio? No, that was Central Michigan.
No.
I was thinking Tassari when you got smashed by your nephew.
Yeah. How about that? Isn't that wild, dude? Isn't it? It's crazy. That was 2011, man. That was December of 2011.
Nearly 10 years ago.
It's so wild. Time just, and it really flies when you start having kids, doesn't it? Wild stuff. Well, hey,
all right,
if you don't have anything else for me, dude, listen, I love you like a fat kid loves cake. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the time. You can go watch this live one right now, the one that I'm filming with the phone that I'm pointing at, and then this
put it on my channels.
And then this edited one that's being filmed on the camera or on the phone, or I'm sorry, the computer. That will be up tomorrow morning or early afternoon, okay?
All right, sounds good, Zab. I love you, buddy.
All right, stick around a little bit. Let me cut this live feed and cut the video here. So hold on. All right.